If you want to help out and support the channel, there are a few things you can do. Go check out Flipside Gaming and use the promo code VOIDMAGE in all caps. This will get you 10% off all orders $10 or more. And if you go shopping on tcgplayer.com, go use my affiliate link in the description below. That way all purchases you make will go towards helping the channel. And lastly, go check out my Patreon. It's a more direct way that you can help the channel while also getting some more interaction. I appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech video, this time for patron Logan. His November request, he wanted me to do a competitive, budgetless Surrak Dragonclaw deck with a sub-theme of dragons, and a combo he wanted me to add was Doubling Season and Sarkhan Unbroken. In order to do this, I'm going to have to put a bunch of dragons in here, because there's no point in trying to pull that combo off if you don't have the dragons to back it up, but I will get to that in a minute. Going over Surrak Dragonclaw, he is 5 mana in Temur colors for a 6/6 legendary human warrior. He has flash and he can't be countered. He also makes it so that creature spells you control can't be countered either, and other creatures you control have trample. So if you have a creature combo, he makes a pretty good commander option because that creature combo cannot be countered. We're going to try to make this as competitive as possible while sticking to the requested criteria. Having a dragon sub-theme does make it a little bit harder, seeing as they're pretty much in here to interact with our planeswalker. There are pretty efficient ways of winning the game outside of that though. That's just a fun little combo we're going to go for if we can. Going over lands, there's nothing super spectacular when it comes to utility. It's pretty much just mana fixing. This is budgetless, so I'm going to be including a lot of fetch lands and some dual lands. I know a lot of people don't like having to spend a lot of money on decks, but since we are in 3 colors, we want to get exactly the mana we need as soon as turn 1. Ramp, when it comes to artifacts and creatures, it's going to be pretty good in a more competitive deck. Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Chrome Mox, and Mox Diamond. The less you have to pay for your mana, the better. This also works out well with our 1 mana Mana Dorks, Birds of Paradise, Arbor Elf, Elvish Mystic, Findhorn Elves, Llanowar Elves, and since we're in red, we can play Orcish Lumberjack. We can sacrifice a forest to add 3 mana in any combination of red or green, making it really cool if we just want to go off in one turn. We don't necessarily care about any following turns. We can just give up a forest. We also have Elvish Spirit Guide and Simian Spirit Guide. The same kind of idea. If we're going to go off in one turn, we don't necessarily care about whether our mana source lasts, so just discard these to get quick mana. Now we're going to go over the control shell of the deck, and the more competitive you go and the more colors you include, you're going to see a lot of the same cards. We are helped out big time by the fact that our creatures cannot be countered with Surrak, so I'm going to run a comfortable amount of counter spells, but I'm not going to go crazy. I like Pact of Negation, Dispel, Pyroblast, Swan Song, Counterspell, and of course Mana Drain. I've been asked many times before why I don't feel as comfortable playing Force of Will. It's just a preference. It's not because I think it's too expensive. It's more about, is it worth it to get rid of another blue card in your hand? And it is a free counterspell, so it's not often that I argue against it, but we are in 3 colors and we're not always guaranteed to have another blue spell. And hey, we are playing a bunch of massive dragons, so I think we should be willing to leave up a couple mana to counter a spell. Card draw is pretty important, so we are going to play some cantrips like Ponder, Preordain, and Brainstorm. The quicker you can get through your deck, the quicker you can get to the combos. And in a similar sense, we're going to be playing some tutors. Not spectacular ones because we're not in black, but we have Gamble. Gamble can get whatever we need. We run the risk of discarding it. Mystical Tutor can get us whatever instant or sorcery we need. Most likely going to be a counter spell, to be honest. It's just too good to pass up if you want to play more competitively. We also have Worldly Tutor, Time of Need, and Signal the Clans, creature tutors in a creature combo deck. And although it's not really a cantrip, it's a pretty good card if you have an empty hand. Wheel of Fortune. We are budgetless after all, and in a similar sense we're going to want to speed up the game with our enchantments, so you're going to see a lot of the same elements. We have Carpet of Flowers and Utopia Sprawl just to give us a little bit of extra mana. Mystic Remora and Sylvan Library are going to help speed up the deck, give us a little bit more card draw, and you're not spending as much mana with Mystic Remora, and you can get Mystic Remora out there as soon as you want it, making it a little bit bit more efficient than Rhystic Study. And we have Survival of the Fittest, yet again another way that we can tutor up some creatures. We're also playing Fauna Shaman, which is just the creature version of Survival of the Fittest. Now for the requested combo, it's going to be difficult to pull off. I'm not going to lie to you. You saw what our tutors are. We're not going to be able to get an enchantment or a planeswalker that easily in this kind of deck. But for some reason, if we are able to get lucky and we get Doubling Season out there first and then play Sarkhan Unbroken, we can just ult him right away and search our library for any number of dragon creature cards and put them onto the battlefield. I have a total of 11 dragons in this deck. The worst part is if you have them in your opening hand. So what I would recommend is that you use a scroll rack so that you can keep them out of your hand if at all possible. But going down the list, we have probably the best dragon in the whole deck, Scourge of Valkis. If you get the combo off, it's going to enter the battlefield. It's going to deal X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. I did say we have 11 of them, but we have dragons that make tokens. I'll get to those in a second. All of those dragons are going to enter and trigger as well. They're all going to enter at the same time. They're all going to have their own trigger. Thundermaw Hellkite is brilliant if we can just get all of our dragons out there at once. A problem for the combo is not just pulling it off in the first place. Once you get those dragons out there, you need to be able to connect. The only thing able to stop you at that point is reach creatures, because you can pretty much ping all of your opponent's flyers, tap them, and then hopefully you can hit for lethal. Dragon Broodmother, a good dragon. If you have to hard cast these, Dragon Broodmother is pretty good. Play the long game, you get a bunch of dragon tokens with Devour. Hellkite Charger, another hasty dragon. If you have the mana to get another combat phase, you should be able to deal lethal. We have Steel Hellkite, not my favorite dragon, but one that is very good if you need a utility dragon. It does offer you the ability to remove non-land permanents, which no other dragons are really good at that. Lathliss Dragon Queen is the first one we're talking about when it comes to getting more dragon tokens, so that our Scourge of Valkis is more deadly. Whenever another non-token dragon creature enters the battlefield under our control, we get a 5/5 red dragon creature token. Since they're all going to enter at the same time, they're all going to trigger and give you a bunch of 5/5s, which will then trigger Scourge of Valkis because they're dragons. Balefire Dragon is one that we really want to have with haste, and we do have other ways of giving haste, which I'll mention in a minute. But when it deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. If we can't just kill an opponent right away, we can at least destroy their board. In a similar sense, we also have Tyrant's Familiar. Awesome because it does have haste, but if we do have the Lieutenant, we can also kill a creature. And Dragon Lord Atarka and Bogarden Hellkite, going to deal 5 damage divided, which is a lot better than it seems. And even if you don't have a lot of targets, you can still just shoot someone in the face for 5. And also, like Lathliss, we want some more tokens, so Udvara Hellkite. Not going to give them to us right away, but if we can attack with a bunch of dragons, we will get even more dragons. So if you are able to pull that off, I imagine it'll be a lot more satisfying than what I have planned for the rest of the deck, which is going to be the Kiki-Jiki combo, or Kiki-Jiki / Splinter Twin, because that's really the two cards that are going to help you win more often than not. Just two cards that are going to put token copies of creatures onto the battlefield, give them haste. Cool thing about both of these is that the creatures we're going to be copying are able to untap permanents, so that we can keep using these abilities that put more tokens into play. We have creatures like Pestermite, Deceiver Exarch, and Bounding Cressus. These just enter the battlefield and we can tap or untap permanents, mostly in here because they can untap. We also have Zealous Conscripts. It's a bit more expensive, but it pretty much allows us to do the same thing. And if our opponents happen to have a Kiki-Jiki, then we can just win the game right there on the spot. It's unlikely, but it has happened before for me. And that's pretty much the deck. I'm not going to lie to you. That last win con is going to happen for you more often than not. It's just easier to get to. Other cards are going to be support. We have Gilded Drake. Nothing super special. They're just good competitive cards. Snapcaster Mage if you want to get a counterspell back. Vexing Shusher is an all-star, especially in competitive EDH where counterspells are everywhere, and if your opponents are able to counter something if you don't have Surrak out, you can make it uncounterable. We do have some good haste enablers because you absolutely need them, especially with all of those dragons. Rhythm of the Wild and Temur Ascendancy. Both are going to allow for a lot of versatility. Temur Ascendancy is probably my favorite because it gives card draw. But anyway guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think about Surrak Dragonclaw. Believe it or not, back when this guy first came out, I thought, hey, what's the point in playing Animar? You could just make all your creatures uncounterable, give them trample. Just a very good all-around creature. Probably the most underrated thing about him is the flash. And even though this isn't going to go toe-to-toe with the best competitive EDH decks, you do at least have the contingency of commander damage or just combat in general. I mean, you are giving your other creatures trample, and we are playing 11 dragons, so you don't have to go for the turn 3 or 4 win. You can quite often just sit back. Now, there are some cards I didn't mention, but if you want to see the whole deck list, I will have it linked in the description below. Thanks again, Logan, for becoming a patron. So far, you've had some pretty interesting deck ideas. This one especially made me think quite a bit. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you all next video. Just wanted to say thanks to the patrons who are supporting me on patreon.com. Go check it out. There are different tiers with their own rewards. One of them is having your name in the credits of my videos. I know it's not much, but it's something that I can do to show my appreciation. Thanks again, and have a good day.